There are two things that define Gavin 3, his nose and his testicles. Gavin's always going on about his ball problem, how people need to watch out for his balls, how he can't sit on a bike saddle because his balls will blow up. But what is he even on about? Well, here's the story. It all started many years ago in Otakon, before Gavin even worked at Rooster Teeth, where he experienced his first ball problem. His testicle did this weird thing where it would twist a little and get swollen and hurt. And to make him feel better, but also because they were bored, Jason Saldana, the voice of Tucker, drew him little pictures of waffles fighting testicles. But this wasn't the last time it would happen, because every couple months or so, his testicle again would twist and get really swollen and painful, over and over again. As you might imagine, this freaked him out, so he went to the doctor. But the problem was that as soon as he arrived, it would twist back to normal. So the doctors were like, well, there's nothing we can do now since it's not twisted. So if it twists back again, just come back. And oh boy, did it twist back. But this time, it was so much worse. Because on Christmas Day, of all days, Gavin's testicle twisted like it had never twisted before. Twisting all the way around, completely rotating and strangling his ball. And Gavin was like, oh my god, oh, it's so painful. Ow, oh, ow, I can't breathe, oh, ow. It was so bad that Gavin could barely move and couldn't even put on pants. And it had swollen so much that there wasn't enough room in his scrotum for the other testicle. So Gavin immediately went to the hospital and was diagnosed with testicular torsion. So what happened exactly? What is this testicular torsion? Well, I'm going to explain it, but be warned, it's not great. So the testicles hang on what's called the spermatic cord. This cord is what suspends the testicle inside the scrotum, and it contains a network of arteries, veins, and nerves that all keep the testicle functioning, as well as containing the vas deferens. This is the tube that carries sperm when you're busting a nut. And testicular torsion is when the testicle rotates around, twisting the spermatic cord. So, as you can imagine, twisting a cord that's filled with arteries and nerves is a big no-no, and it's apparently excruciatingly painful. Symptoms include scrotal pain, obviously, swollen testicles, nausea, high riding testicles, and the absence of the cremasteric reflex. The cremaster what now? Well, there's a muscle inside the scrotum called the cremaster muscle that tugs on your balls. And if you rub the inner thigh, there's a natural reflex where the cremaster muscle pulls your testicle up. You're trying it right now, aren't you? Yeah, that's right. I can see you doing it. If this reflex isn't present, it's one of the signs of testicular torsion. And what ends up happening is intense pain and restricted blood flow, which, if bad enough, can cause a loss in fertility and even result in having to chop your balls off. So basically, given Gavin's condition, he could have lowered or even fully lost the ability to have children, and his entire testicle might have just shriveled off. But the good news is that there's a window of a couple hours after the onset of the torsion where most of the damage can be undone by surgery. So, this means that there's still a chance that we can save Gavin's testicle. At the hospital, Gavin, already in excruciating pain, had a bizarre doctor that freaked him out even more.
The guy that was telling me about it, he was a weird doctor, man. He paused at all the wrong moments. He was like, there are risks in this operation. It can result in death of the testicle. Don't pause for that long on death, dude.
So naturally, because it's a genital issue, the hospital did a urine test to check his piss out. So Gavin did it. He pissed in the cup, gave it back, not a problem. But here's where it gets good. Because afterwards, a nurse came in to check on his balls. And this nurse just happened to be the hottest nurse in the entire hospital. So she grabbed his swollen testicle, started feeling it up, and was like, cough for me. So he did, and he went, and when he did this, piss shot out of his penis and onto the nurse's hand and on her watch. And Gavin was like, ah! And when this happened, the nurse just looked at Gavin, and he was mortified. He was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And the nurse was like, don't worry about it, it's okay. So that's how Gavin peed on a super hot nurse. But now it was onto the operation. Because his ball and spermatic cord had twisted, the doctors had to fix it with surgery. So what they did was, they sliced open his scrotum, pulled the rotated testicle out, and untwisted it. But they couldn't just put it back in, because they had to let some blood flow back in to make sure it wasn't dead. Luckily, Gavin's nut was still alive. So they shoved it back in and then stapled it to the side of his scrotum so that it wouldn't twist again. There are no pictures of Gavin's ball surgery, unfortunately, so I can't show any pictures of it. I could show you pictures of other surgeries, but it's really bloody, so I won't. But in the description, you'll find a research article by Drs. Sharp, Kieran, and Arlen where they go into a full explanation with photos. But what was really interesting was that the doctors told Gavin that he was about an hour away from losing his nut. Oh, and the best part? Remember how I said this was on Christmas Day? Well, Gavin was dressed up as Santa Claus. Yep, that's right. He dressed up as Santa for Christmas, but because his balls were so swollen, he physically couldn't change his pants, so he went to the hospital dressed in Santa trousers. So Merry Christmas, Gavin. But there's still more, because after the surgery, he had to take a piss really badly. So he got up, hobbled over to the toilet, literally about to piss himself, and when he arrived at the toilet, he pulled up his gown and finally took a look at his junk. His balls were caged in a net, and his penis was taped so it wouldn't get in the way. But the way it was taped was pointed straight up, as in towards his face. But because he was literally about to piss himself, he started pissing uncontrollably while his dick was pointed at his face. And he was like, rip the tape off, ah! But luckily, Gavin was able to free his penis in time, and the piss never reached his face. Although he was very shook by the experience, and dubbed it the most panicked pee of his life. So, if you ever feel embarrassed about yourself, just remember that Gavin once peed on a super hot nurse and then almost peed on his face while dressed as Santa Claus.
What do you want for Christmas, little boy?
Knobs.